It's Movie Day. I'm Ray Love Jr.
And I'm Tre'vell Anderson.
And we are Seated, the blackest show about movies. And today we're kicking off our official award season coverage.
Yes. Okay, that means you should, grab a little something to sip on, okay? Strong or otherwise, that's up to you, okay? Today we're going to be talking about the Golden Globes. The first award show, maybe not the first, but I would say the first major one. Sorry, Critics' Choice Awards. Major award show of the season. That's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and if you're new to the Golden Globes lore, think of this award show as like the drunk, messy auntie of Hollywood. Historically, they've not been about prestige like the Oscars, but they have a reputation for awarding those who are best at like schmoozing the voters with the most expensive and elaborate FYC campaigns. FYC, it's for your consideration for those, who may not be hip to the lingo. And for decades, this show was run by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which was a tiny group of about, I think, like 80-something journalists who were notorious for being bought out. So let's not forget the tea
allegedly bought out.
Allegedly brought out. Yeah.
Jesus.
But let's not forget that tea from 2021, which Tre'vell, I think you know a little something bit about.
Yes. So back in the day, we're talking about post-2020, the Golden Globes was discovered, which at the time, as Ray said, Hollywood Foreign Press Association, the Los Angeles Times I was not working there at the time, did a just kind of expose, basically, right? That said that noted that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association didn't really have black members. They also called out, like you said, some of the pay-for-play-ness that was going on. If I remember correctly, there was this whole thing around Netflix paying for HFPA members to go to Paris to participate in an Emily in Paris like activation situation, and like folks was like, that's crazy, because why? That's crazy, and so it became this whole thing, and Tom Cruise mailed his trophies back or something like that. NBC canceled the broadcast that year. They went through this whole kind of rebirth situation. I guess this is also the opportunity and time where I'm supposed to do my personal disclosure to say that when they were doing their initial refurbishing, I was hired among a number of people to serve on the acceptance committee to basically be part of the group that decided who can become a member of, at the time, the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Now all of that has been, it's the Golden Globes Foundation, and they're now Golden Globes voters. It's a lot more than just those 80 journalists working for international outlets. It's a lot more robust and presumably diverse. So there's that.
Yeah. So I guess with that, the HFPA is technically dead. And I think folks who won this year actually got the memo, because I remember last year people were still thanking the HFPA, and we were like, that's not around anymore.
Yeah.
But, the Globes were bought out by private investors, Eldridge Industries, and I believe Dick Clark Productions. So now it's a for-profit venture. So they've expanded the voting body to, I think it's about 300 quote unquote diverse journalists from around the world to beat the formerly racist allegations.
Sure.
But this year we saw very few black winners on stage. We saw the diversity in the presenters, and also the music, which scored the night, got very black, kind of like when, you get in an Uber and your driver turns into the black station.
That's crazy. That's how you felt?
But is any of this working for us? Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to be discussing our kind of recap review of the Golden Globes, the wins, the snubs, whether the 84th annual Golden Globes gets a seated, a stream it, or a skip it recommendation from us. Let's dive in. Where do you want to begin?
So I want to start before the telecast. You know, there's a red carpet. It's all about the glamour, the glitz, the excitement. I don't really care about the fashions personally. I just wanted to shout out the Black reporters that I was able to spot in the coverage that I saw, because, you know, those are my people and we work alongside them in LA and across the industry. So I specifically want to call out Zuri Hall and Justin Sylvester, who were the correspondents at E! News. Really great coverage. There was a moment that Zuri had with Michael B. Jordan's mom, who he brought as his date, that I thought was really sweet. Zuri did a great job at including her in the interview. It felt very, very direct, as like a younger Black woman who respects the older Black woman, the eldest Black woman on the carpet, and making sure she acknowledged her presence. I was like, yes, this is a Black ass moment.
Look at you. You are a vision in this emerald green. Thank you. Thank you. I love this color. I'm telling you. I feel like I'm shining. You are shining. We see now where this one gets it from, you know. Takes a star to make a star.
And Justin Sylvester had a moment that stood out to me where he was like, I'll pay the $10,000 fine. And he said something that got bleeped out when he was talking to Teyana Taylor, which I thought was funny and just like very of the culture and for the culture.
Probably this pussy don't pop for you.
Likely, but they said that on the main stage, which we'll get into later.
Right, but that's different than E! News.
It is. You're right about it. I also want to shout out our girl, Robin Laurie Marshall, who was covering for Getty, as she does. That's my girl, way back from Atlanta, yes. Angelique Jackson for Variety, doing her thing out there. Jason Armond, who's a photographer for the LA Times. And a couple more, Simone, Corbett, and Nischelle Turner, who were covering for Entertainment Tonight, producer and correspondent. So, yeah.
Kevin Frazier was out there as well.
We're going to get into that as well. But I also got to show love to the photography duo known as ABDM, which is Ahmad Barber and Dante Maurice. They shot the official photo and video portraits of the winners and the presenters of the night. And so that's some off-camera stuff that I wanted to make sure we kind of just like start the conversation with.
I mean, I love that. Ahmad Barber and I were great friends. We went to Morehouse together. Great friends at Morehouse. He's great. Dante's great. They've been doing wonderful photography things all over the place, you know, on every magazine cover and billboards and all kinds of stuff. So shout out to them.
Yeah, nice. So, you know, we got an unsolicited listener question, which I love, means you guys are engaging at home. And I think this is someone you may know, Tre'vell, who DM'd us. So we can throw those questions into the mix as we have this conversation. It's from Queen B, and she DM'd us on our Instagram Seated Show. And she asked us two simple questions. What did they get right, and who would our winners be for the night? And I think those are things that we'll dive into as we have our conversation. But yeah, shout out to you, Queen B.
Yes, Bianca, that's my bestie. Hey girl, how you doing?
Nice. Yes.
Okay, so you wanted to start. I mean, we just started with the red carpet. Cute. I didn't watch it, so I have nothing to add, if I'm being quite honest. But to kick the show off, I think we should start with that opening monologue and the host, right?
Yes, Nikki, and the skit.
And Sure, and the skit.
We come to this place for magic. You know, I have an AMC A-lister, so that like hit a certain point for me. And I thought it was funny because, you know, they brought in the podcast element of essentially the theater that she went to being closed and her going back to the car to listen to a podcast. So, yeah.
We come to this place for magic. We come here to laugh, to cry. Wait, what? We come to our cars for podcasts. Because we need that. All of us. Podcasts. They're just what we have now.
It was cute. What did you think of the opening monologue, which I feel like is always the thing that the host gets graded on the most, where they have to balance like making fun of people and being entertaining, but also being endearing. So Nikki Glazer kind of rides that line as a comedian. She hosted last year, and so they brought her back again this year. Thoughts, feelings?
I was into it. I think oftentimes when it comes to the host, it all becomes so standard and oftentimes the humor isn't exactly up my lane, but I think she did a good job. She managed to like work the entire room going from one category to the next, because the Golden Globes covers not only TV but also film and also now podcasts. And she was able to work everyone into her monologue, which I thought was really great. And specifically, I knew we were going to be in some really good hands with the host, because the show aired on CBS and she spared no punches by cracking a joke that CBS is now the channel where you can see BS. So I thought that was pretty funny.
CBS News is what she said. Now you can see BS News. Okay.
And the award for most editing goes to CBS News. Yes. CBS News, America's newest place to see BS News.
No, it was so funny. I thought she was great. I thought the opening monologue, I was entertained. I thought it was a great start to the show. And I do think she strikes that balance and struck that balance of like kind of making fun of people or having those like, did she really say that moment? Those kinds of moments, which I feel like any award show, as a viewer, you want a little rough around the edges. You want something.
It brings tension.
You want somebody to get bleeped, right?
Yeah.
And now you got to go figure out what they got bleeped for or whatever. Yeah. And so she had that kind of energy. I thought she killed it at the beginning.
And she's also someone who obviously is aware of like what's going on and actually probably watches the movies, or made us feel like she watches and engages with the folks being awarded in a way that felt familiar and felt like, all right, let's hear her out and see how she's going to run the show. And I think she did overall pretty much did a good job. So yeah, shout out to her.
I mean, I do think she also hosted it last year. So some of these people were literally there last year. Like, what's that little boy name? Timothy Chalamet was nominated last year, if I'm not mistaken, or was present last year. Let me say it that way. But yeah, so host, cute. Hell, they'll probably keep bringing her back at this point. I thought she was good.
If you could choose a host, who would you choose to host the Golden Globes?
I think Keke Palmer is a great host of almost anything.
Yeah. She's hilarious and she's really good on her feet. I don't know if you watch her podcast, Baby, This is Keke Palmer.
Of course.
But she had Anderson .Paak on recently and they were doing one of the games they play, and she made a hilarious joke about when she hosted, was it the BET Awards?
In her
Soul Train Awards?
Yes. BET Awards,
she was like, oh, they were saving the budget by hosting in my backyard. It was a hilarious clip.
Did you hear they canceled the BET Hip Hop Awards and Soul Train?
Yeah.
Somebody told me they knew it was going to be over when they hosted it in my backyard.
That's insane. The budget cuts is insane.
And I thought to myself, that they was trying to make that creative, but that was a budget cut. Because why is it in my backyard?
Okay.
Anyway.
That was one of the pandemic years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
or right after. Yeah, coming out of it.
Yeah. So but she I think she's a great host at all times, and I think for me, I want a triple threat kind of host. Yeah. I want somebody, because I do want a bit of song and dance, but I want you to be on key, Nikki Glazer.
Yeah,
I want you to be on key.
I wanted Keke to be nominated because I still stand by One of Them Days being one of my favorite comedies of the year. And the Golden Globes is one of the only award shows that has genre categories. And so there is a comedy and musical category, which I was like,
but the nominees in the comedy and musical category, some of them weren't comedies. Y'all gotta stop playing with me, because that don't make no sense.
The category fraud of it all is what they call it. Was interesting because if you were to ask me, I would have probably said Sinners should have been in the musical comedy category, because Sinners is very much so like a musical movie to me. Like it was to me like one of the strongest music involved movies of last year.
It's music involved, but it's not a musical.
But there are musical performances in it that qualify.
But it's not a musical. You about to engage in category fraud yourself that you say you don't like.
There have been things put in categories that don't even have that type of musical element that have been categorized as musicals or comedies.
And I agree with you, and they are also wrong.
Fair. But I think that makes for an interesting conversation with the Globe specifically, because they're the only award show where you can really have that type of like nuanced conversation when it comes to what goes where. So
fair.
Fun, yeah.
But what happens, right, is what we, I mean, I do think Sinners is a drama all the way through. I understand your point about how it has these, a significant musical element. But the reality is, so many of these films was just weird. Why are you in that category? Right? Yeah. Wasn't Marty Supreme nominated in the comedy?
Yeah, musical comedy, which is why I think they split Sinners into drama.
No, Sinners is a drama, period. Marty Supreme is not a comedy to me.
But I think that was Warner Brothers doing that category thing where they didn't want two films in the same category because it was the same studio, essentially. So they were able to have one in each. So
certainly, and that's why Big Daddy Netflix is coming to. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All
right, so you're gonna bring this back. The first winner of the night was the one and only Teyana Taylor, who won for Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. And baby, did that start the night off in an interesting way, to say the least.
Teyana Taylor.
Oh my God, wait, see my party in the back. Oh my God, I almost didn't even write a speech because I didn't think I would get this. Oh, my babies. My babies are upstairs watching. Y'all better be off them damn phones and watching me right now. To my brown sisters and little brown girls watching tonight, our softness is not a liability. Our depth is not too much. Our light does not need permission to shine. We belong in every room we walk into. Our voices matter, and our dreams deserve space. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
I put this on the what's that thing called, Threads, during the show. I had to stop myself from saying anything bad about the role, and allow her the opportunity to celebrate. Okay, I want you to get your claps, your flowers, etc. Cool. But that is a bad role. That is a bad role, and I don't care what y'all say.
Yeah.
And it's okay, and we can do both. You know what I mean? We can celebrate her, and we can also say, this pussy don't pop for you.
Yeah. Who actually said that? I think it was
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Oh yeah, when he won for Best Screenplay. But we'll get to that later.
Because I want to finish with Teyana, because I got something for him.
Yeah, Tiana's win, it definitely dusted up more conversations about the role in this way and the character she portrayed. And, Black women historically being awarded by the industry for those specific types of characters. And it brought back to me in that moment when Andra Day, I think she won for Best Actress in 2021 for her role as Billie Holiday in Lee Daniels' movie. What was it? The U.S. or the United States versus Billie Holiday? And she eventually, went on to get an Oscar nomination for that. And maybe this is Tiana's role, but
they've been pushing it.
Routine.
They've been pushing that, right? And so I would absolutely not be surprised. But this is crazy work, okay? I'm just saying, y'all, this is crazy work.
Yeah. If you had to choose a Best Supporting Actress performance worthy of winning a Globe this season, who would it have been for?
It should have gone to Ariana Grande.
Really? Okay.
Actually, it could have gone to anybody other than Teyana, respectfully. And I wouldn't have felt any kind of way. But, I do think it is quite, and maybe, did Ariana win this award last year for part one?
I can't recall.
So maybe she already got it. I can't remember last year's nominees, but that's where yeah. What about you?
Yeah,
Did you have a selection outside of?
Yeah, if it were me, I would have chosen somebody who's not even on the nominee list. And I would
you
have
creating
loved
new rules.
I mean, I said anybody. I didn't say it had to be on the bill. I wanted Wumi to get in there for Best Supporting Actress.
Certainly.
She wasn't even nominated. But,
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly.
She showed up with her pregnant belly, her and Haley Steinfeld.
Okay.
I saw someone say something like,
"Please don't."
One thing twins gonna do is have babies at the same time.
Crazy. I was just about to say.
They were smoking stack and
Yes. Sinners did. Speaking of Sinners, let's finish talking about one battle after another. We forecasted a little bit. Paul Thomas Anderson won Best Screenplay for a motion picture, and I. So let me first say, he gives his speech. He basically calls, what's the word he called himself?
He called himself a magpie,
which. I guess
it's a bird.
Okay, but like a thief bird, like a stealer.
Yeah, it's a bird with reputation for being mischievous and collecting shiny objects. So I guess that was what he was.
And so he was like,
maybe?
he's a magpie, and then he started, shouting out, I guess, black women who he stole from as part
he
of the
specifically
script.
said stole himself. Like, you're not
that's a
editorializing there. Yeah, that's a quote.
That's a quote. And he shouted out Jungle Pussy, who is This Pussy Don't Pop For You. And then also Nina Simone, he said about, what was the, no fear. What is freedom? No fear. I'm not gonna lie. My stomach turned.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, because and we say this every award show. Anytime somebody let me be specific. Anytime a white person gets up on stage and uses a part of their speech to basically say, not just I stole, because that's what Paul Thomas Anderson said, but in the broader context that, like, oh my God, Adele to Beyonce, oh, you're the best. You should have this award. This should be yours. Timothy Chalamet to Michael B. Jordan, we spoke about last week at the Critics' Choice Awards, right? It's just, I don't know. I'm not trying to say nothing, Ray, but I'm trying to say something. If you know what I mean.
I'm with you. And it also was glaring that for the theme and topics that were covered in one bat after another to be what they were, with being revolutionary and all of that, he didn't mention not one time anything political or speaking to anything happening in real life. Like
that is in his movie, The Immigrants.
That is in his movie, yes.
The Revolution. I mean, I guess that was his forecasting of the Nina Simone, what is freedom to you? No fear. Maybe that's what he was intending, but that definitely was a missed opportunity.
That he missed
for
twice.
Sure. Well, because he came back up for Best Motion Picture Drama.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so, but I do want to say, I never wanted to get confused. I'm so glad that Teyana, that Chase, that Regina are present in these conversations. Broadly speaking, they give us something fabulous and wonderful to look at, and both on screen in terms of their performances mostly, but also in terms of them like being at these shows and being the folks that I'm rooting for regardless. And I thought Teyana in particular had a beautiful dress on with her booty out like she was on All's Fair Season 2.
Her diamond encrusted thong. Yeah.
Which I'm sure was probably, my spirit says it was in the costume department on All's Fair, because Kim Kardashian has a similarly styled outfit with her booty crack out too in the show. But we can move on, friend. Back to the Golden Globes.
We mentioned earlier the political statements that were absent from Paul Thomas Anderson's speech. But I wanted to ask, did you notice the stars who were wearing those Be Good or Ice Out pins throughout the night?
I couldn't tell. I did see a couple of them pop up, but I couldn't read it myself. I hadn't done any other research, but that was like the hashtag Me Too of this season, I guess.
Yeah. And so just for context, the Be Good and Ice Out pins, celebrities were wearing them to protest the Minneapolis killing of Renee Nicole Good by ICE agents.
Oh, yes.
That I'm sure, hopefully, you all are informed right there about what's happening. But celebrities I noticed wearing it were Wanda Sykes, Tessa Thompson, who wore both of the pins on her purse, Jean Smart, Mark Ruffalo, Natasha Lyonne also on her purse, and no shade, but Ariana Grande did not have one on the red carpet. It took her a clock tick to get one.
Cut it out.
But she did find one when she got inside of the actual ballroom, and she wore an Ice Out pin and made sure she was photographed with it. So
she probably ain't had one. She ain't know about the protests.
Moving right along.
You said moving right along. You said yes, she did.
Cynthia Erivo wasn't there, which, I thought was telling.
Because she knew she wasn't going to win. I shouldn't say that. We should be clear. Cynthia Erivo is working. That is why she's not there. She's over there doing Dracula on the stage across the pond. So that's why she's not there. But also, they weren't going to give her the award no way. So, come on now.
Speaking of giving awards, your boy Timmy won again. Timothy Chalamet, he won and beat out Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that narrative that we spoke about on our Marty Supreme episode continues to unfold, right? Of him being the best thing since sliced bread. I also wonder, because I still contend that his performance is not better than Michael B. Jordan's or a couple other, respectfully, actors of the season who aren't in the mix at all, to be clear. But I was thinking about, is his recognition... You know what? I'm going to let that thought cook a little longer before I let it out on the airwaves. Because, sometimes that's important. And my gut said, and so I'm going to let that sit. But,
we still got 2 months of award season before
we're gonna see
things
him,
close. So, let it
We're
cook.
going to see him plenty of times, okay?
Yes, yeah.
So many.
How did you feel about, I guess we can go straight to the Best Podcast Award winner, which went to Amy Poehler. And it was the first year they awarded this award. So, yeah.
I mean, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, even when they said they were adding it, it's not like they're doing... I mean, the majority of the podcasts that they nominated are celebrity podcasts.
Yeah.
Not even like narrative storytelling podcast.
That's what was surprising to me. That's why I thought they were going in that direction, but it was all basically interview podcasts with no black people. Well, I guess technically NPR's Up First is hosted by our girl Aisha Roscoe, but no culturally black podcast, which was telling. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, but I think looking at who was nominated. To be quite honest, I'm surprised Up First got in there, looking at who else was nominated. But it obviously became one of those things. It was like, y'all just really want these people to come to your little award show.
Yeah. And they gave it to someone who's already won a Golden Globe, Amy Poehler. Like, she's an extra. I think she got awarded in 2013 for her role on Parks and Rec. So it just felt safe and also felt very vanilla and expected for this awards body.
But the nominees were. But also, did this point of it feeling vanilla? I know you were talking about some, other critical reviews or whatever the folks have been saying about the show, and folks, I guess, some of the publications calling it not a great show. What were they saying?
So one of the pieces I read earlier this morning was from Danielle Feinberg over at The Hollywood Reporter. Her title of her piece is Critics Notebook. Nikki Glaser outshines an otherwise tone-deaf Golden Globes telecast, which I was like, oh, Interesting take. So yeah, people have been very critical of this award show, and I haven't had a chance to read this one yet, but I saw the Wrap also put up their coverage of it by Steve Pond, and the title of it is In a Time of Turmoil and Trauma, the Golden Globes Didn't Read the Room. So people definitely have critical thoughts on the award show itself.
Interesting. I wonder if that's a comment on their politics was light throughout the night. Yeah. Even with, as you pointed out, with One Battle After Another, but there are a number of other movies that hit on a host of politically oriented themes. There wasn't much outside of the pins. I am reminded of Wanda Sykes's little bit about Ricky Gervais, which she was accepting the Ricky Gervais's award for, I think, Best Comedy Special.
Thank you. Shout out to the Golden Globes for having me, because there's some people pissed off that a queer black woman is up here doing the job of two mediocre white guys. Ricky Gervais, I love you for not being here. No, I love you, Ricky, but because if you win, I get to accept the award on your behalf, and you're gonna thank God. And the trans community. The Golden Globe goes to Ricky Gervais, because he would like to thank God and the trans community.
Why was that even presented?
I think that's one of the new ones too.
But something that I think the only award that wasn't televised was for Best Original Score, which was the only other win Sinners got. And I was like, I would have rather see that win over a comedy special, but continue.
Well, Kevin Hart was in attendance and had so many comedic bits thrown to him. You got to make sure that in case he wins, it's televised. Come on, that's good for...
Like you said, he did not win. But
He did not. What else stood out to you?
There were quite a few nominees that had politically charged or themes that spoke to the moment for there to be such an absence on stage that it did feel like a miss. So I can understand why these publications and these critics are kind of calling out that absence in the show. So, yeah, I'll definitely be reading those, and I guess that's something for the folks at home to check out at their leisure as well. So,
I have a question for the listeners, okay? If you're watching us on the YouTube, hop into the comments. And if you are otherwise listening to us, send us an email at holla@seatedshow.com.
Yes.
I want to know, when you're watching an award show, what are you looking for? Like, do you want it to be, have all of these obvious pointing toward the political, moment that we are navigating? Or would you like to just celebrate celebrities, and look at the nice gals? Because I think that's often an open conversation that us on this side of the industry always talk about. But I want to hear the folks who, are not here, are not involved in this kind of discourse. When you turn on the CBS, what you looking for? What kind of fun? You're just trying to have fun? Or you trying to be reminded that man, is taking all your rights?
Right. Speaking of what we're looking for, something I noticed was absent or not as present in this year's award show were like clips from movies. Like, I didn't see many moments that the category, when they were announced, that we saw many of the clips from the actual films or projects themselves. I remember there were clips that played most notably for the podcast category, but up to that point, I don't think we got any clips for performance or anything. Like, when Teyana went up, I expected them to at least show the performances of the actresses like they would usually do as they're announcing it, but they just went straight into announcement. Is this a way to make this more concise or what? There weren't many flourishes.
They have to, right? They added 2 or 3 new categories. And the broadcast was already 3.5 hours or something like that.
So that's something I did note. The broadcast was shorter than Avatar movie.
Fair.
No no shade to James Cameron, but it was only
Fair.
like 3 hours and like 15 minutes or something like
Yeah.
that, which, my biggest criticism of Avatar is that it's too damn long. So it was at least shorter than a James Cameron movie.
Which is crazy. But yeah, speaking of though, what did you think of the commentating?
Oh, so that's why I said we were going to circle back to this.
To Kevin Frazier? Yeah.
Kevin Frazier, because he was in a duo with Mark Malkin from, what's Mark?
Variety.
Variety, yeah. And so essentially, they were commentating the show. So when someone would win an award, they would do the thing where they like read facts about them or try to basically speak or tell us what's happening in the moment in a way that
It was supposed to be like
very,
Sports Center is what it was supposed to give.
And I was like, I don't need this in my show, but also I don't think that Mark and Kevin's chemistry really made for compelling conversation in that way. Like if we're gonna do some commentating, give me like Regina Hall and Tracy Ellis Ross or something, like somebody with some beat.
You
or
want a
something, I don't know,
comedian.
but something that's gonna color the moment.
Well, it should have been a comedian. Or a comedian should have been involved to make it feel, or it should have just been one person.
Right.
Because to your point, the interplay, it didn't.
Like, or at least give me someone with a distinct voice. Like, what's homegirl who does the BT Awards all the time?
MC Light.
Oh my goodness, MC Light. Like when she comes on, at least her voice has some flavor. Like it's giving us something that has some rhythm to it. Whereas they just felt disruptive to the moment that was happening in a way that I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah, I just in the kind of commentary they were providing, it was your typical. Such and such has been nominated one time before. This is their second. And then the second person to speak between Kevin or Mark would be like, yeah, I saw her partying at last week.
And you're just like, what?
What?
It felt very red carpet vibes as opposed to like in-show vibes. I don't know.
But maybe that's also, certainly it was quite intentional for them to do something different than, previous telecasts. I do like I think I generally like the idea, but I would have loved to see different folks, unsuspecting, legitimately unsuspecting. Like these people were unsuspecting to me because what? But I mean, like, and I don't even want to hear MC Light. Like if they had Keke Palmer, I'm trying to give Keke Palmer all the jobs. If they had Keke Palmer doing it, right? If they had even some film critic or television critic, and I guess Mark is not a critic. Mark is an awards editor at Variety, so I'm not sure what his critical take in work looks like. But yeah, long story short, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. What did you think of the GPS situation?
That was actually hilarious to me in a way that I wasn't expecting it to be.
Just to see where they put people, how far back they put people?
Yes. I was like, now, are they trying to like crack jokes at themselves for knowing they put people way off in the Raptures who were winning awards to the point where you have to put like radars on the screen for people to know where they are? And speaking of on the screen, how did you feel about them essentially having the odds, like I guess the bets or whatever of who's going to win a category coming on screen in like the lower thirds every time they were going to commercial?
Crazy work.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because also, I don't believe any of them were competitive, if I remember correctly. So many of them were like, the number one place was 95%. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
Did you change the graphic? You know what I mean?
It reminded me of last year when they had that very just like tacky leaderboard in the room where they were showing what studios won how many awards. And I was like, y'all cut this. Like whose ideas are these?
Well, but the industry like that shit. Because they're all doing their own tallies at their table. Ted Sarandos is making a check quite literally every single time.
But I think people were actually betting on this stuff at home. Like I know betting is illegal in California, but
people do it independently. People do little small get-togethers,
for fun. But people actually do this for money. Like, betting is becoming a quite its own industry now that regulations have been lifted.
People do it for high-cost betting, and then people do it for fun. Community bet, just little. When I used to work at the LA Times, we used to all put in our Oscars ballot, and we would contribute. I think it was $5 or something like that to play.
Big money, big money!
You're crazy.
I know y'all had it like that.
$5, you better stop playing with me. And that's how it would, and then whoever got the most correct. Took the pot. So small things like that. Anything else stood out to you from the show this year?
There was a moment that definitely caught my ear and caught my eye. It was when, I think his name's Stephen Graham, was winning his award for Adolescence, and he literally ends his speech with Queen Latifah, wow. When he noticed her in the audience.
So, Queen Latifah, wow, can't believe it. Good night, God bless, and in the words of Bob Marley, one love.
Clearly our girl pulls focus in the room.
Period.
And I love seeing her have her moment. She was called out twice in the award show from the stage, which I was like, yes, Queen, have your moment.
Anytime you show up, girl.
On the carpet. She had her iconic middle part bust down, honey blonde, brunette. What is a honey red color? But she looked good as per usual, and that was definitely a moment that stood out to me. Is there any other that stood out to you?
The UFC moment. What was that?
Baby, what the hell? What even was that?
Yuck is how I felt. What is this?
And to make it even worse, the guys from Heated Rivalry just walked on stage after that. I don't even know if they were announced or not, but I was like, this did not feel
They were announced. The whole thing, it was supposed to be, they made it seem like the UFC was providing security. And so they were providing security for the Heated Rivalry folks because of, I think this was the idea, because all of the attention that they've gotten. And so, but no, it was.
That did not land for me.
Well, but it turns out, I think I saw some reporting that CBS and UFC, they're doing something. It was it was an ad. I mean, it obviously was an ad, but it legitimately was teeing up some kind of partnership or whatever. But it was out of place.
Well, like Nikki Glaser said, I guess that was another moment for us to see BS. Anywho, did you notice Marlon Wayans and his bit with the guy from Severance? How'd you feel about that? Their little back and forth.
I don't quite remember it.
Yeah.
I
thought it was pretty whack. It did not land for me.
Yeah, I'm about to say it didn't pop up in my memory of things, which probably means it was bad. Just like his movie, I didn't have to do that.
Damn.
I didn't have to do that.
But another presenting duo that did land for me was Io and Haley Steinfeld. They did a bit about how people watch movies in different formats.
Just so everybody's on the same page, television is the stuff you watch on your laptop.
Right, which is not to be confused with movies, which everyone watches on TV.
Yeah. I actually watch Sinners in every format.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Dolby?
Yes. IMAX, 70 millimeter.
Okay. On a phone, on a plane while kids kick in the back of your seat?
Yes, and also on TikTok in 297 parts.
You're such a cinephile.
Well, it's important to watch these things as the director intended.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was this tracks, because one of my favorite clips on the internet is Io Debris during one of her interviews. She was like, somebody asked her what her hobbies was, and she was like, I do not have hobbies. I watch movies.
I watch a lot of movies and TV. I do not have many hobbies.
So I was like, that is me.
That's crazy. That is a hobby, beloved.
I mean, sure.
A film enthusiast.
Don't kill the joke, Tre'vell.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Something else that stood out to me that wasn't exactly a stage moment per se, but it was something that was present throughout the entire show, was that the Golden Globes had a very specific soundtrack this year, it felt. There were a lot of Black moments with music that happened on stage with people who weren't necessarily Black. So the first that really caught my eye was when Teyana Taylor won and they were playing My Boo by Ghost Town DJ. I was like, ooh, this is very specific of a song to play, especially opening out the show. But that continued throughout the show. Like we got Fantasy by Mariah Carey playing after the studio one. And then we got Yeah with Lil Jon and Usher playing as Stell and Skarsgård walked up. Of course, they played Unity, UNITY, when Latifah came up to present.
Every single time. And every single time they going to play it.
As they should.
Every single time.
I thought it was interesting that they played Isn't She Lovely by Stevie Wonder as Jessie Buckley. Came up to get her award. I was like, I don't know if this is, on theme for her or the movie she was winning for. I Want to Dance with Somebody played when Coleman Domingo was walking up. I was like, this is definitely feels like the drag song at the drag bar.
Crazy. Yeah, my boyfriend and I recognized the soundtrack, as you put it, as particularly colored throughout the show. But
they even played Hollywood Swingin'.
We liked it. We was entertained. Like when I think of like kind of just an overall takeaway or review of the show, I watch these shows every year. It is what it is. My boyfriend does not. He was very entertained.
Oh wow, nice.
And so I guess that's a good thing for the Golden Globes Foundation. It's CBS and Paramount Plus.
Yeah. One quotable that I thought was pretty effective to me was when Vagner Moura won, and he said, if trauma can be passed through generations, values can too. I was like, all right, I see what you're going for. It wasn't exactly politically pointed, but he was saying a thing in that moment, and I received it. Yeah.
Everybody had I'm not saying everybody, but, some folks had their, like, I would say veiled nods to... Yeah. The moment or a broader thing. But yeah. Okay, so seed it, stream it, or skip it, Ray.
I mean, we can't get there yet because we've not discussed our boy in our movie Sinners at all.
Yes, we did. Did we talk about them not winning nothing? They didn't win much of nothing. They won box office and cinematic achievement. There you go.
Yes, they won. Don't sound like the only moment we had, child. So Sinners took home the award for cinematic and box office achievement, which I thought was just like the industry co-signing the big FU that the internet has basically been given to Variety for their upfront coverage of the Sinners box office performance opening weekend. And I thought that was hilarious. It was like,
we shouldn't.
Now they have to report. Now they have to report that Sinners is the cinematic and box office achievement of Sinners. But also, the category itself has its own, I guess, controversy because it's not exactly a respected award. It's something they just threw in, I think, to bring in like a popular film. So,
well, yeah, we don't have to think. That is the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is
because last year Wicked won that. That's what Wicked did win.
I believe so. And so it was meant to bring in a different. It's an awards category that is meant to bring in a different kind of movie into awards conversation. A kind of movie that isn't and may not necessarily be Oscar worthy or something like that. But is, important, and a lot of the films that end up being nominated in this category over the last couple of years that it's been out have been huge blockbusters.
Yeah.
Sinners is a blockbuster. Do not get me wrong. But when I say huge, I'm talking about the big, Avatar.
$1 Billion Club.
Yeah, Avatar is in this category, on purpose.
Zootopia, too, is in there. And we know both of those have both cracked $1 billion, which technically made more than Sinners. But I think they were specifically wanting to acknowledge and recognize Sinners in the place that they probably didn't think it would in other categories. So I appreciated that for that moment.
Well, no, I hate it. I just want to be, congratulations, take your award home. Absolutely, shout out to y'all. But also, the reality is this is the beginning of a season in which Sinners will continue, and Ryan Coogler specifically, right, as a filmmaker, a writer, will continue, I think, to be devalued And with the lore and the understanding that we have of this category with this particular award show, and how it comes into conversation, right? I think we'd be naive to just say, "Oh, this is them spreading the love." No, you should have given it best drama.
Yeah. I think I just appreciated being able to hear from the man himself and also his wife, Cindy, who got to also have a moment before he spoke.
Thank you for pouring into this story. You are all masters at your craft at the most elite level, and it was an honor to share this space with you. And this all belongs to each of you as well.
I just want to thank the audience for showing up. It means the world. This movie was made by hundreds of people. We don't always, when we work in the film business, wear tuxedos and look glammed out. It's usually a grind. You know what I mean? We wearing like performance fishing gear, and we in the swamps, and it was an honor on this movie to know that it was getting a theatrical release. We would remind people every day in the dog days of summer in New Orleans. We would say, "Hey, big movie, people gonna see this, big theater." We didn't know that they would show up, so we just want to say thank you that they did. It meant the world to us.
Personally, I know that I've spent quite a bit. I probably account for at least a dozen of those ticket sales, having seen the movie 8 times in theaters myself and taking whoever I can get to go with me to see it. So I think that's why I appreciated that moment. So, yeah.
Okay, well, can we now get to our seated, stream it, or skip it?
Not yet, Tre'vell. I also wanted I had to acknowledge Hamnet winning and beating out Sinners for Best Motion Picture Drama, and that moment that Chloe Zhao had from the stage where she acknowledged Ryan Coogler.
And I look around this room. There are so many of you that I have known for many, many years, my incredible fellow nominees, and I'm looking at you, Ryan Coogler. I'm looking at you, Sundance Labs. I taught you how to make a fire in your, because it was cold, in your room. But I'm looking at you, and I see so many of you have become so strong and tender at the same time, and you have shared so much of yourselves in your work to the world. So I salute to your bravery, and I salute your dedication. And let's do this together. Let's keep our hearts open. And let's keep seeing each other. And let's keep allowing ourselves to be seen. Thank you.
Oh, how did that make you feel watching it?
I didn't like it either.
Because, yeah.
I didn't like it either. Now, I feel differently about her because, you know, solidarity. But I didn't like it either, ultimately.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, it was hard to watch because it just felt like, I think most of us who have like reached for something or achievements and seen folks take what we have really worked hard for over us know what it felt like in that moment to see her blowing kisses to him from the stage in that moment. And I was just like, I don't like
Well, it's
this.
the same thing I mentioned earlier. I mean, like I said, she's a woman of color. Her and Ryan also have a history at the Sundance Labs that she spoke about in her speech. So I do think that you know, it do make it different. You know, than some of the other situations I brought up earlier, but that is exactly what I'm talking about. And that's not to say anything negative about Hamnet. And spoiler alert, we'll be getting to Hamnet in a couple weeks, folks. So you will get to hear our extended thoughts on it. But yeah, that was. Shout out to her. You know, I don't want to take anything away from her, but y'all got to just accept y'all little awards and go backstage, you know.
Remember when Adele got that Grammy and told Beyonce she loves her?
Listen,
How many times we have to keep seeing this?
Well, we gonna keep seeing it over and over again, but yeah, I mean, what's the next award show coming up? The SAG Awards is March or February.
Which is now the Actors Awards, by the way.
Correct. That is what they call them. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, we have a long season ahead of us. And I hope that this doesn't continue to be the pattern throughout the season.
Yeah. Well, I'm settled. I'm resolved. I think I've teased out everything that I had, all the thoughts I had.
You sure? You got everything off your chest, Ray? You sure?
Yes.
Since I'm the impatient one of the collective, apparently. Okay, let's get into our seated, stream it, or skip it when you are thinking about this award show in the grand scheme of things, you know?
I mean, for me, the Golden Globes, I think this year was a seated. It was an enjoyable watch, although there were a lot of disappointments that happened. It was still worth the watch, I suppose. And if you can, go ahead and stream some of those moments that you think you would care about or that we mentioned here. So yeah, seated. I like it.
I was gonna say stream it because, what I mean by stream it in this context is just go watch a couple clips on the YouTube. You know, you ain't gotta watch the whole thing. It was 3 hours and 15 minutes. That's crazy.
Go see a movie instead. Yes.
go see Avatar if you really want, I guess.
Now, why are you misguiding these people?
Well, they should listen to the previous episodes and you know exactly what you should go take a peek at, okay, in the theater.
Yes, well, that's going to wrap up our Golden Globes recap this year, and check us out for our next episode coming in just a few days, actually. So yeah, it's been great talking about this, and we'll be keeping track of what's happening this award season. So follow us everywhere, Seated Show, and we will see you next time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like and tap that subscribe button. And if you're listening, give us a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app or wherever you're tapping in today. It'll really help folks find us as we grow. Seated is an independently funded production, and your support can help us go further. Consider becoming a card-carrying member of the Seated Movie Club at seatedshow.com/join, where we'll bring you more of this popcorn-worthy content, special events, and more. And how do we do all that we do? Well, you know it's not by ourselves. Our theme music was created by Buckrow and animation by Ajung Adi, with creative consulting by Jade Fox and publicity support by House of Arrows. This week's episode was edited by me, Ray Love Jr. Seated is a co-production of Slay Jean and 5011 Media. It's hosted and produced by Tre'vell Anderson and Ray Love Jr. Shout out to our location partner, The Walkwood Yard. See you at the movies. Holla! Speaking of Chicago, did you see the Chicago Bears made it advance to the playoffs?
Oh, beloved, I don't know nothing about.
Me neither, but it was a fun game, child. You know, they haven't been in the playoffs or won a playoff game in like 20 years or something crazy like that. So it was exciting to be able to witness that as a non-football lover myself. My grandmother's into football, so I like watch it haphazardly.
You watch it with her.
Yeah. Now, I was into it. Like they were giving a show. Like I was like, this feels like a movie. It feels like something a movie would be based on, essentially.
Oh.
So I was in here like talking about some Go Bears, although she's clearly a Dolphins fan. But yeah.
Okay, go Bear. Bear down, I believe is what the people say.
Speaking of bears, I mean, I wouldn't identify myself as a bear, but people have tried to associate me with being a bear, and I'm like, I'm just a big nigga. I'm not no damn bear. But we ain't got it. I'm sorry. I'm way off.
No comment. No comment. You get to decide your own labels. Absolutely.